everyone, welcome to the Accounting 101 course. Today we're going to talk about chart of accounts. So when we've gone through this course, we've talked about how we record these transactions, and you've seen account names like cash or checking, owner's contributions, owner's equity, you've seen payroll expenses, that kind of thing. This is all part of your chart of accounts, and a lot of questions that we get are, how do you come up with your chart of accounts? How do you know what you should be using? That's a great question. So when it comes to the chart of accounts, we have a couple different types of accounts. And in general, in accounting, we have assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, expenses, and then we also have other revenue, which is going to cover things that, revenue that we earn, but it's not through a typical course of business. For example, I'm not in the business of collecting interest, but I have some interest that I collect, right? That's another type of revenue. It's not a main stream of revenue, it is other revenue. Same with expenses. Other expenses are going to be things that you may incur as part of your business, but they're not, expenses that are based on the actual operations. Maybe you have interest expense. That's another type of expense because it's related to, financing the business, getting debt, essentially. So, it's related to lending. Traditionally, chart of accounts are assigned, each account is assigned a number. Traditionally, assets run in the 100s, liabilities in the 200s, equity in the 300s, revenue in the 400s, expenses in the 600s and 700s, other revenue in the 8s, and other expenses in the 9s. Now, I want to go over this. One, you can certainly take this and add another digit on the end if you need it and have, assets in the thousands. That's okay. You could do, assets are thousands, liabilities 2000s, equities 3000s, that kind of thing. I see that in like really large companies. Honestly, it kind of tends to overcomplicate things. If you may have more than 100 assets. If you run like a really large company with a lot of equipment or something along those lines, for the most part, you guys don't need to do that. And you can always expand to that later if need be. A lot of softwares also don't require you to utilize numbers. So for example, when you go to QuickBooks, you can turn the number option on, but you're not required to. You don't have to do that. I see this, with certain companies that run different types of accounting software that's, more integrated with small to medium-sized businesses, or if they have some form of reporting that they need to do, maybe they're a government contractor, something along those lines, then they'll end up with numbers on their accounts. It's not required for the majority of small businesses, unless your software requires it, okay? Now, most accounting softwares provide a starting point for your chart of accounts, which is helpful because a lot of people don't know where to start. And when we go over in this kind of next unit that's about to come up, we've got like one more video before we dive into like a full accounting cycle, I will walk through setting up the chart of accounts with you. We're going to go through the whole process. Most accounting softwares provide a starting point if you give them your industry. And those are always nice to start with and then modify. Okay, one of the other places that I like to start with is this is Schedule C. Schedule C has a lot of really nice categories for revenue and expenses. So I like to start here. I'll tell a lot of people, start with your tax form. Schedule C has quite a few more categories listed than like Schedule or a Form 1120S, like your S Corporation tax return. And that's because once you get to an S corporation status, the IRS kind of expects that you have an idea of what's going on and you have, a decent amount of bookkeeping skills. But Schedule C is pretty interesting. It's a good place to start. I do want to mention that the income categories and the expense categories here, this is not an all-encompassing list, okay? This is a very, very basic starting point. Almost none of your businesses the chart of accounts will look exactly like this. It shouldn't, okay? But this is a great, great, great place to start. Some other tips that I have here are divide out the important accounts with different tax treatments. And this might be kind of foreign to you right now, but I kind of want to point out here, meals have a different deductibility than, say, offices, like office expense. Meals are not always 100% deductible. So it's really important that we have specific categories for meals so that we know, okay, this isn't 100% deductible. I need to simplify my tax preparation process by tracking this throughout the year. Same thing with like entertainment. Entertainment is no longer fully deductible. Now, if you're in the business of like providing entertainment, so if you throw like parties and that kind of thing, it's a little bit different. But I'm talking about entertainment like you're going to take customers to a baseball game and you've paid for tickets. Those tickets are technically not deductible. Okay, so we need to have a separate category for that on your books because it's going to allow you, one, to understand, to do your tax projections. So you're going to understand what you're potentially going to owe. But then also, it allows you to more easily prepare your tax return or your tax professional to more easily prepare your tax return. Those items have to be separated out. Okay, so that's a great place to start. You also want to check on your return type. So if you file a Schedule C, check to see what's on that Schedule C. What you will notice is like Form 1120S, your S Corporation return, or Form 1065 for partnerships, they'll have separate categories that the IRS wants to see separated out. Some common ones, rent, for example, salaries and wages. All of those should be separate, and if you separate them out in your chart of accounts, you can more easily prepare that tax return. And then you need to ask yourself, what's actually going to make a difference in my decision making? Depending on your software, there's a lot of reports that you can go into to where you can keep your chart of accounts smaller, have fewer different types of accounts, but then you could go ahead and implement something like tracking expenses and revenue based on location. So you can still run a profit and loss per location. You can still divvy out like specific expenses for a specific location or specific revenue for a specific location, but you don't have to do it in your chart of accounts, which makes it really easy to do decision making because you can make decisions for a specific location or you can make decisions for the business as a whole. So what's going to make the difference in decision making? Is it going to make a difference in decision making if you divvy out, your travel into hotels and car rentals? Probably not, in all reality. That's all travel, right? Probably not going to make a difference in all reality. Unless you just are, trying to figure out, like, am I just paying for too expensive of a hotel or something along those lines? That stuff doesn't need to be broken out. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make a difference in your decision making. Keep it simple. I have gone into companies that have had 3-4 page long profit and losses at the end of the month, and they are overwhelmed with data. It is too much data. It's too much. So looking at a 4-page profit and loss, how do you even analyze that in a way that allows you to identify weaknesses, identify strengths, and then make decisions from that, and then track changes? Like, that's a huge part of it. In my opinion, it's better to keep it more simple than to overcomplicate. Also, you don't want to have specific chart of accounts for, like specific vendors. Like, oh, I've paid my Microsoft dues and subscriptions, but over here, this is my, Canva or ChatGPT dues and subscriptions. Those don't need their own account. Lump them all together and move on. You can dive down. It's not like you're ever going to be unable to look at the details. So all of your accounting software will allow you to pull reports of like, okay, what did I pay for dues and subscriptions this year? You'll be able to pull an itemized report of all of those. So it's not the end of the world to keep it simple. It's going to prevent a lot of decision fatigue for a lot of people. So those are my tips with chart of accounts. I will sit down and when we go over kind of the demo cycle of accounting here and kind of the next unit, so to speak, of this course, I'll go through setting up a chart of accounts because I'm gonna go through the process like kind of on a PowerPoint, and then I'll also go over it in QuickBooks to show you what it looks like, to kind of help you follow along in a real life scenario. So hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.